As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's This Day in History.
As we count down to America's 250th birthday, we're highlighting our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. Here's Charlie Shortino with This Day in History.
Hello again on this day, March 14th, back in 1981. Famous musician Eric Clapton collapsed after a performance at the Dane County Coliseum. He was hospitalized with bleeding ulcers. Clapton was already struggling before the show. He needed a painkiller to be able to get through the concert. Clapton was able to finish the show, but he was immediately flown to St. Paul and checked into a hospital. This was his 57th and final show on his North American tour before he was forced to cancel the 47 remaining shows on the rest of the tour. The famous musician checked into rehab to treat alcoholism in early 1982. After another stint in rehab in 1987, he has since achieved over 35 years of sobriety. In 2026, Clapton is still on tour. He's scheduled to perform at the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee on September 13th. That's This Day in History for March 14th. For We the People, I'm Charlie Short.